The cold steel of the observation deck felt strange against Tom's palm. He stood in a room that floated in the space between stars, far away from his home planet. This was the galactic center, the heart of all civilization in the universe. Here, the greatest races met to decide the fate of worlds. But today, Tom did not feel like an ambassador. He felt like a beggar. Next to him stood Lisa. She was a captain in the United Earth Space Force. She wore her formal dress uniform, and she held a digital tablet tightly against her chest. She looked at the large round table in the center of the room. Around the table, there were no bodies. There were only holograms. These holograms represented the Galactic Council. There were hundreds of them. Some looked like tall insects made of light. Others looked like floating rocks with glowing eyes. Others were just pure energy without any shape at all. They were the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy. And they were looking down on Tom and Lisa. The room was silent. The air smelled of ozone and something metallic. It was a smell that made humans feel sick, but the aliens did not seem to notice. High Speaker Vex was the leader of the council. Vex was not a physical creature. He was a projection of blue light that hummed with a low sound. The vibration of his voice went right into their heads. It did not go through their ears. "The request is denied," Vex said. The words were simple, but they were heavy. They fell on Tom like stones. Tom stepped forward. He could not keep quiet. "You cannot be serious," Tom said. His voice sounded small in the huge room. "The Xylonth swarm is only 3 months away from Earth. They destroy everything. They eat planets. If you do not help us, billions of people will die." A hologram of a tall insect creature leaned forward. This was Ambassador Xyler. He was not related to the swarm, but his species was old and cold. "We have analyzed the data," Xyler clicked. "Your world is primitive. You have not yet achieved faster than light travel on your own. You are using old engines. Your weapons are kinetic projectiles. Explosives? You fight with rocks and sticks. We fight with what we have," Tom said strongly. "We have brave soldiers. We have ships. We just need access to the slipstream gates. If you open the gates, we can move our fleet to meet the swarm. We can defend the system. We are not asking for your ships. We are asking for a path. The slipstream gates are for stable civilizations only," Vex said. The blue light pulsed. "Opening the gates for a non-member world is against the law. Furthermore, the path to your sector passes through the Agarian Nebula. The turbulence could damage the gates." "For a gate," Lisa spoke up. Her voice was shaking, but she was angry. "You risk billions of lives because of turbulence. The galaxy talks about peace and justice. Is this your justice to lock the door and let the wolf in?" A third hologram floated closer. It looked like a cloud of gas. "Little creature," the gas hissed. "The council is not cruel. We are logical. The probability of your survival, even with access to the gates, is less than 0.04%. The Xylonth swarm has destroyed level 3 civilizations. You are a level 0.5 civilization. It is a waste of resources. We are not a waste." Tom hit his hand on the metal railing. "We are humans. We adapt. If you help us, we can fight. We have defeated enemies before. We have spirit." "Spirit is not a variable in our war simulations," Vex said coldly. "The decision is final. The Xylonth swarm is moving toward your sector. To prevent the swarm from following your ships into the core systems, We must seal your sector completely. Tom felt cold. Seal us? You mean you are going to trap us? We will activate the Great Barrier around the Sol system, Vex confirmed. Nothing goes in. Nothing comes out. This will ensure the swarm does not spread to the rest of the galaxy after it consumes your world. Lisa let out a small cry. It was a sound of pure horror. You are not just refusing to help, she whispered. You are creating a cage. You are making sure we die quietly so you don't have to hear the screaming. It is for the greater good of the many, Vex said. The sacrifice of one primitive species is acceptable to ensure the safety of the 1,000 advanced species in the Council. Tom looked around the room. He looked at the insect creatures, the rock people, the energy beings. They were all looking at him with eyes that had no pity. They saw humans as ants. If you step on an ant hill, do you feel sad? No. You just keep walking. Tom realized that begging would not work. Logic would not work. These creatures did not care about honor or bravery. They only cared about their own safety. My government will protest, Tom said, his voice low and hard. This is a crime against life. Your protest has been noted and filed in the archive, Vex said dismissively. You will return to your ship immediately. The barrier will be activated in 1 standard hour. If you are not past the boundary line by then, you will be trapped with your people. Go now, Xyler added. And do not return. The holograms flickered and vanished. The lights in the room dimmed. The connection was cut. Tom and Lisa were left standing alone on the metal platform. The hum of the station was the only sound. Lisa slumped against the wall. She looked like she might faint. It's over, Tom, she said. Her face was pale white. They are going to seal the gates. Earth is alone. We are going to die. Tom stared at the spot where the blue light had been. He felt a strange heat in his chest. It was not fear. It was anger. It was a hot, burning fire. He had been scared of the aliens. He had been scared of the swarm. But now, he was just angry. No, Tom said. He turned and walked toward the exit door. It is not over. Lisa followed him. What are you talking about? We have no allies. We have no advanced tech. We are trapped. We are not trapped, Lisa, Tom said as he pressed the button for the elevator. We are just alone. There is a difference. But what can we do? Lisa cried. The swarm is endless. The Council said it themselves. Our survival chance is 0. Tom stepped into the elevator. The doors slid shut. He looked Lisa in the eye. The Council calculates 0% because they fight by the rules, Tom said. They think in straight lines. But humans don't fight like that. When humans are backed into a corner, we don't give up. We get dangerous. Tom, tell me what you are thinking. Did you see the way they looked at us? Tom asked. They think we are weak because we are different. They think we are divided. They know Earth has many countries. They know we fight each other. They are betting that when the swarm comes, humanity will panic and turn on each other. Tom tapped his wrist communicator. The small screen lit up. He opened a secure channel. Who are you calling? Lisa asked. I am calling command, Tom said. On Earth. But the barrier. Let them close the barrier, Tom said. I don't want their help anymore. I don't want their gates. We are going to survive this our way. He spoke into the device. This is Major Tom. Authorization code Omega Black. I need to speak to the Secretary General immediately. Tell him the Council betrayed us. A voice came back from the device. Standing by, Major. Lisa watched him. She saw the change in his face. He was not a diplomat anymore. He was a soldier. What are you going to tell him, Tom? Tom looked at the elevator doors as they opened to the hangar bay where their small shuttle ship waited. The sounds of the busy spaceport filled his ears. He saw aliens of all kinds walking past, ignoring the two humans. I am going to tell him to start Protocol Unity, Tom said. If the galaxy won't stand with us, then we must stand together as one. No more countries. No more borders. Just Earth. They walked quickly toward the shuttle. The hull of the small ship looked battered compared to the sleek alien vessels around it, but the name on the side was painted fresh, the Vanguard. Protocol Unity, Lisa asked, climbing into the pilot seat. That's just a theory. It hasn't been tested. You can't just tell the whole world to unite. I can, Tom said, sitting in the co-pilot seat and strapping in. Because the enemy is at the door. And the Council just locked us out. He punched the launch sequence into the computer. Get us out of here, Lisa. We have a war to plan. Lisa engaged the thrusters. The shuttle lifted off, drifting away from the alien station. As they flew into the dark void of space, Tom looked back at the massive station that housed the Galactic Council. It looked like a jewel in the dark. It was beautiful and cruel. Behind them, in the distance of deep space, he saw a flash. The Galactic Council was activating the barrier. A massive wall of energy was forming, cutting off the Earth sector from the rest of the galaxy. It's closing, Lisa said softly. Tom watched the wall of light seal shut. It was like a door slamming forever. He felt a heavy weight settle on his shoulders. The weight of 8 billion lives? Good, Tom said. Good. Lisa looked at him like he was crazy. Now we don't have to worry about their politics, Tom said. Now, we only have to worry about one thing, surviving. He opened the channel to Earth again. This time, the Secretary General answered. The old man's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired. Major, the leader of Earth said. Is the good news, will the Council send ships? Tom took a deep breath. No, sir. They will not. They are sealing the barrier. They have left us to die. There was a long silence on the line. The Secretary General closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, there was a fire in them that Tom had never seen before. I see, the old man said calmly. They have chosen to be observers. Then we shall give them a show they will never forget. Sir, I recommend we initiate Protocol Unity immediately, Tom said. Total mobilization. Every factory, every soldier, every citizen. We unite the planet under one command. The Secretary General nodded. It is already done, Major. I was waiting for your confirmation. As of 5 minutes ago, all borders are dissolved. The United Earth Defense Force is formed. We are ready. Tom smiled. It was a cold smile, but it was real. Then let us go home, sir, Tom said. We have work to do. Godspeed, Major. For humanity. The screen went black. Lisa looked at Tom. Protocol Unity is active already. They knew, Tom said. They knew the Council might betray us. They were hoping, but they were prepared. The Vanguard banked hard, turning away from the closed barrier and turning toward the darkness where Earth waited. The journey would take weeks. But Tom did not sleep. He sat in his seat and watched the stars. He thought about his home. He thought about the blue oceans and the green grass. He thought about the cities and the people. They were soft people. They were artists and builders and teachers. They were not warriors by nature. But Tom knew the truth of humanity. They were slow to anger. They preferred peace. But if you pushed them too hard, if you threatened their families, they became the most terrifying force in the universe. The galaxy had made a mistake. They saw humanity's kindness as weakness. They saw our division as a lack of strength. They thought that by isolating us, they were dooming us. They were wrong. They had not isolated us. They had focused us. We will show them, Tom whispered to the empty cockpit. Show them what Lisa asked, glancing at him. Tom looked at the stars ahead. We will show them that you don't need laser shields or gravity cannons. You don't need a million years of history, all you need to survive is the will to never give up. He leaned back in his seat. The anger in his chest had cooled down into something hard. Something unbreakable. We will stand united, Tom said. And the galaxy will never look at us the same way again. The ship flew silently through the dark, carrying two soldiers back to a world that was about to change forever. The stars watched them, cold and distant, but Tom did not feel small anymore. He felt ready. The game had changed. The rules were gone. And the fight for Earth was just beginning. The journey back to Earth felt longer than any trip Tom had ever taken. The silence of space inside the Vanguard was heavy. Lisa sat at the controls, her hands steady, but her eyes were red. She had not slept much since they left the Galactic Council. Tom sat in the co-pilot seat, staring at the blank radar screen. The barrier that the Council had erected was far behind them now, an invisible wall that separated humanity from the rest of the stars. As they approached the Sol system, the solar system that held Earth, the silence began to change. At first, it was just a hum on the comms. Then, it became a flood of voices. When they finally passed Mars, Tom saw something that made him grip the armrests of his chair until his knuckles turned white. He expected to see chaos. He expected to see panic. With the threat of the Xylonth swarm only weeks away, he thought people would be running in the streets or fighting in the spaceports. But he saw none of that. The space around Earth was busy. It was not the normal busy traffic of cargo ships and tourists. It was a military machine. Hundreds of ships were moving in perfect formation. They were not sleek alien ships. They were ugly, blocky, human-made ships. But there were so many of them. And they were all moving with a single purpose. Lisa brought the Vanguard into a landing pattern at the new orbital dock, a massive structure of steel and lights that had been built in just a few weeks. Tom, Lisa whispered. Look at the moon. Tom looked out the window. Near the moon, there were massive construction cranes. They were building something huge on the surface. It looked like a city of guns. I have never seen anything like this, Tom said. They said the United Earth Defense Force was active, but this is an army. They docked the ship and walked down the metal ramp. Inside the space station, the mood was intense. No one was smiling. No one was laughing. The soldiers and workers moved with a speed that was scary. Everyone wore the same patch on their shoulder, a blue circle with a map of Earth in the center. The flag of their individual countries was gone. There was only Earth. A tall man with gray hair was waiting for them at the bottom of the ramp. It was Commander David. He was the head of the new Earth Defense Fleet. Major Tom, Captain Lisa, David said. His voice was deep and rough, like he had been shouting orders for days. Welcome home, you are late. The council kept us, Tom said. And we had to navigate around the asteroid belt at slow speed to save fuel. David nodded. It does not matter. You are here now. Come with me. The Secretary General wants to speak with the fleet in an hour. They followed David through the busy hallways. The walls were covered in screens showing maps, troop movements, and resource counts. Tom noticed something strange on one screen. It showed the output of factories on the ground. Commander, Tom pointed at the screen. Those numbers can't be right. It says steel production is up 500%. How is that possible? David stopped for a second and looked at the screen. People are working, Tom. When the announcement went out that the council left us to die, something changed. People didn't hide. They got angry. Every car factory, every toy factory, every phone plant has been converted to make weapons and ships. People are working 20 hours a day. They are not asking for money. They are asking for guns. Lisa looked shocked. 20 hours a day they will die of exhaustion. They are willing to die to give their children a chance to live, David said simply. That is the difference between us and the council. They fight to survive. We fight for each other. They arrived at the bridge of the main station. It was a large room with a huge window that looked down at the blue and green planet Earth. Floating in the center of the room was a hologram of a young woman. It was not a real person, but an artificial intelligence they had named Jessica. Jessica was the ship's tactical computer. She had a human face and a human voice to make her easy to talk to. Commander, Jessica said. Her voice was calm and smooth. The fleet is ready. All 300 capital ships are reporting full combat status. The ground batteries are online. David walked to the center of the room. Good. Prepare the broadcast channel. I want to send a message to the galaxy. Tom stepped forward. Sir, the barrier is up. The council blocked our signals. They won't hear us. Jessica smiled slightly. Actually, Tom, that is not entirely true. While the council blocked the standard frequencies, our scientists found a way to use the magnetic field of the sun to amplify a signal. We can punch a message through the barrier. It will be faint, and it might take a few days to reach them, but they will hear it. David nodded. Do it. The main screen in the bridge flickered to life. It showed the face of the Secretary General, back in the command center on the ground in Geneva. He looked old, but his eyes were burning with strength. People all over Earth stopped what they were doing. In the streets of New York, in the fields of India, in the factories of China, everyone looked up at the large screens that had been set up in every city. Even the soldiers in space watched. Citizens of Earth, the old man began. Today, we face the dark. The Galactic Council has turned its back on us. They see us as weak. They see us as a sacrifice to save themselves. In the command center, Tom watched the screen. He could feel the tension in the air. But they do not know us, the Secretary General continued. They do not know that when you push a human, we do not fall down. We stand up. They left us to perish, but they forgot one thing. They forgot that we are the masters of our own fate. The camera panned out. Behind the Secretary General, there was a map of the world. It was not divided by borders. It was one solid color. I am announcing today that the nations of Earth are dissolved, the Secretary General said. There are no more Americans, no more Russians, no more Chinese. There is only human. We are the United Earth Defense Force. We have one army. We have one voice. And we have one goal, survival. The crowd in the space station bridge cheered. It was a loud roar that shook the walls. David smiled, a rare sight for him. If the Xylon swarm wants Earth, the Secretary General shouted, they can come and try to take it. We will be waiting. We will be in the skies, on the ground, and in the oceans. We have nothing left to lose, and that makes us the most dangerous beings in the universe. We will stand united. The transmission ended. The screen went black, showing only the logo of Earth. David turned to Tom and Lisa. You see, that is why we will win. The council fights because it is their job. We fight because it is our home. Suddenly, Jessica's voice changed. It was faster now. Commander, I am detecting a signature at the edge of the system. It is faint, but it matches the profile of the Xylon swarm. The room went silent instantly. The cheering stopped. Everyone froze. Confirm, David said, his face turning into stone. Confirmed, Jessica said. It is a scout ship. No, it is a vanguard fleet. They are early. Tom felt his heart jump into his throat. How many? Jessica hesitated. Current estimates suggest 2,000 bioships. And that is just the first wave. Lisa looked at the tactical map. Red dots were appearing at the edge of the solar system. 2,000, we have 300 ships. The odds are 7 to 1. Then we better make every shot count, David said. He walked to his chair and sat down. Sound the general alarm. I want all pilots in their cockpits in 5 minutes. Jessica, calculate the intercept course. Tom watched the red dots. They were moving fast. They were like sharks swimming toward a bleeding fish. Commander, Tom said. Permission to take the vanguard out. I want to be on the front line. David looked at him for a long moment. You just got back, Major. You are tired. I am angry, Tom corrected him. And angry men fight harder. David nodded. Granted. But stay close to the flagship. Don't try to be a hero today. We need you alive for the real fight. Tom saluted. Yes, sir. He and Lisa ran back to the docking bay. The alarm sirens were wailing now, a loud, terrifying sound that meant war was here. Workers scrambled to clear the decks. Fuel lines were disconnected. The air smelled of smoke and fear. As they climbed back into the vanguard, Tom felt his hands shaking slightly. He took a deep breath and forced them to stop. He thought about the council. He thought about High Speaker Vex and the blue light that looked at them with pity. Pity is for the weak, Tom said to himself. He strapped on his helmet. The displays lit up around him. This is Lisa, Lisa's voice came over the comms. Systems green. Engines ready. Let's go, Tom said. The Vanguard lifted off, joining the stream of hundreds of other ships pouring out of the space station. It looked like a swarm of bees leaving a hive. Outside the window, Earth looked beautiful and peaceful, unaware of the storm coming. Tom looked at the radar. The red dots were getting closer. The enemy was coming. The galaxy had abandoned them, but they were not alone. They had each other. All units, David's voice came over the general comms. This is Commander David. The enemy is at our door. They expect us to run. They expect us to beg. Show them what happens when you corner humanity. For Earth. For home. For Earth. The radio channel roared back. 1,000 voices shouted as one. Tom pushed the throttle forward. The engines roared, pushing him back into his seat. The stars stretched into lines of light as they accelerated toward the enemy. The silence of space was about to be broken by the loudest war in human history. Tom was not afraid anymore. He was ready to fight. The red dots on the radar screen moved like a spreading virus. There was no beautiful formation to them, no discipline. They moved together like a flock of angry birds, dark and hungry. This was the Xylonth swarm. They did not care about tactics. They only cared about consuming everything in their path. Tom sat in the cockpit of the Vanguard, his knuckles white as he gripped the control stick. The silence of the cabin was heavy, broken only by the hum of the engine and his own breathing. Outside the small window, the stars were still, but he knew that peace was an illusion. Incoming transmission from command, Lisa's voice crackled over the radio. She sounded calm, but Tom could hear the tightness in her throat. All units, hold position at the asteroid belt. Do not engage until they cross the line. Tom looked at his tactical display. The United Earth Defense Force was lined up behind the rocks of the asteroid belt. It was a defensive barrier. 300 human ships against thousands of alien monsters. The math was terrifying. But as Tom looked around, he saw something strange. The human ships were not shaking. They were holding steady. They are coming into range, Jessica's voice said over the main channel. She was the AI, monitoring the battle from the flagship. Scans show organic hulls. No shields, they rely on thick armor and numbers. Good, David's voice cut in. Then they can bleed. Fire at will. The space between the rocks lit up. The human ships unleashed a torrent of missiles and railgun slugs. It was not the clean energy of the Galactic Council. It was dirty, loud, and violent. The missiles streaked through the dark, leaving trails of white smoke. The front line of the swarm exploded. Bioships burst into green slime and fire. But the wave did not stop. It just flowed over the wreckage. Keep firing. Tom shouted, even though no one could hear him. He pushed the throttle forward, taking the Vanguard out from behind a large asteroid. He targeted a medium-sized alien ship that was firing green acid beams at a human destroyer. Eat this, Tom whispered. He pulled the trigger. The Vanguard's guns spat hot metal. The slugs tore into the alien ship's side. It didn't have shields like the Council ships. The bullets ripped through its flesh and hit its core. The ship shuddered and split in half, leaking gas and fluid into the void. Target destroyed, the computer said. Don't get happy yet, Lisa warned. Look at 3 o'clock high. Tom looked up. The sky was darkening. More swarm ships were pouring in. They were not just attacking the front, they were trying to go around. They wanted to get to Earth. Commander. They are flanking us. A pilot shouted over the radio. I see them, David replied. Battle Group Delta, intercept. Do not let them pass the belt. If they get to Earth, it's over. The battle became a chaotic mess. Ships rolled and dived. Explosions flashed silently like silent fireworks. Tom banked the Vanguard hard to the left to avoid a collision with a piece of debris. A human cruiser drifted past him, its engine broken, fire erupting from its side. Tom watched in horror as the cruiser was swarmed by small alien fighters. They clung to the hull like parasites, eating through the metal. There was no time to help. Focus, Tom, he told himself. You can't save everyone. You have to fight. A massive shadow fell over his ship. Tom looked at his sensors. A huge swarm dreadnought, as big as a city, was looming directly ahead of him. It opened its mouth, revealing a glowing green throat. Evasive! Lisa screamed. Tom yanked the stick back. The vanguard climbed straight up. A beam of green acid shot past their belly, missing by inches. The heat was so intense it warmed the cockpit glass. That was too close, Tom said, sweat dripping into his eyes. Lisa, give me a solution. That thing is too big for our guns. We need to hit its throat, Lisa said quickly. That's where the main weapon is charging. If we damage it, the shot will backfire inside it. Inside the mouth. You want to fly inside the monster. It's the only way to kill it before it breaks our line. Tom looked at the massive ship. It was suicidal. But he looked at the radar. Earth was just behind him. He thought of the billions of people sleeping down there, unaware of the nightmare above them. He thought of the Council, safe behind their barriers, watching and waiting for humanity to fail. Hold on, Tom said. He turned the ship around and dove straight at the dreadnought. The alien ship fired again, but Tom was too fast. He weaved through the barrage of smaller guns, dodging left and right. The vanguard shook as small impacts hit the shields. Steady, steady, Tom muttered. The mouth of the beast grew larger and larger. It looked like a cave of green light. The smell of ozone filled the cockpit. Now! Lisa shouted. Tom fired every weapon the vanguard had. Missiles and bullets poured into the creature's throat. The green light turned red, then white. The energy inside the alien ship destabilized. Tom pulled up with all his strength. The G-force pushed him into his seat, making it hard to breathe. The vanguard shot out of the mouth just as the dreadnought exploded. The shock wave hit them, spinning the ship out of control. Alarms blared. The world spun around and around. Tom fought the stick, trying to stabilize the thrusters. Report! He yelled, gasping for air. Shields at 10%, Lisa said. But we are alive. Tom managed to stop the spin. He looked back. The dreadnought was gone, replaced by a cloud of debris. The explosion had taken out several smaller swarm ships nearby. Nice shot, Major, David's voice came over the comms. But don't get cocky. The battle is far from over. Tom looked at the main screen. The dreadnought was dead, but there were hundreds more where it came from. And the human fleet was taking heavy damage. He could see ships breaking apart every minute. We are losing, Lisa said softly. Our numbers are dropping too fast. Tom checked the tactical map. She was right. The line was bending. The swarm was pushing them back. If they broke through the asteroid belt, there was nothing between them and Earth but open space. We need something big, Tom said. David, we can't hold them like this. We need a miracle. Working on it, Major, David said. Keep the line as long as you can. Suddenly, the radar beeped. A new signal appeared. It was coming from behind the human lines. It wasn't a ship. It was coming from the moon. Tom looked at his long-range scanners. What is that, Jessica? Do you see that? I see it, Tom, Jessica answered. Her voice sounded different. There was a hint of pride in it. Project Titan is coming online. Project Titan, Tom asked. He had never heard of it. Before anyone could explain, a massive beam of light shot out from the dark side of the moon. It was not a laser. It was a magnetic rail round, bigger than Tom had ever seen. It moved so fast that it seemed to teleport across space. The projectile slammed into the center of the swarm formation. The effect was devastating. It was like dropping a rock into a pond of water. The kinetic energy shattered hundreds of bioships instantly. The shock wave rippled out, cracking hulls and crushing the small alien fighters. The swarm, which moved like a hive mind, suddenly stopped. The connection was broken. On the bridge of the flagship, David watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. "Target their carrier," he ordered. "Fire again." The moon cannon reloaded with terrifying speed. Another massive round fired. This one hit a creature so large it looked like a planet. The alien beast exploded from the inside, showering the void with gore. Tom stared at the screen, his mouth open. They built a gun on the moon in a month. "That's humanity for you," Lisa said, a small smile on her face. "Give us a deadline, and we will build the impossible." The swarm was in chaos. The precision attack from the moon had broken their rhythm. The aliens were confused. They turned their attention away from Earth and looked at the moon. "Press the attack," David roared over the radio. "They are confused. Hit them now. Show them no mercy." The human fleet surged forward. The soldiers, who had been fighting a desperate defensive battle, now smelled victory. They chased the retreating aliens, firing into their backs. Tom pushed the vanguard into the fray. He saw an alien ship trying to turn around. He blew its engines off. He saw another one firing at the moon. He sent a missile right up its exhaust pipe. The tide of the battle was turning. The humans were fighting with a fury the aliens had never seen before. The Xylonth swarm was used to enemies that feared them. They did not know how to fight an enemy that welcomed death as long as they could take the enemy with them. But even as Tom fired, he saw the edge of the radar screen. More red dots were appearing. The first wave was broken, but the swarm was endless. "David," Tom said. "We broke the first wave. But look at the long-range scanners." "I see them," David said. "That was just the scouts. The main body is arriving." Tom looked out the window. The debris of the first battle was floating around them. They had won this round. They had proven that humanity could fight. But the war was just beginning. The sky was getting dark again, filled with the shadow of the enemy. "We hurt them," Tom said. "We made them bleed." "Yes," David replied. "And now they know we are not easy prey. But this is going to be a long night. Reload your weapons, Major. We aren't done yet." The silence that followed the first victory was short. The debris from the destroyed alien ships floated like a graveyard in space, but the radar screen was already turning red again. The Xylonth swarm did not feel sadness or fear. They only felt the need to consume. The damage done by the moon cannon had angered them, and now the true force of the enemy was arriving. Tom watched from the cockpit of the Vanguard as the darkness of space shifted. It was not just ships anymore, it was a wall of living metal and flesh. Thousands. Millions. They filled the screen, blotting out the stars. "That's a lot of bugs," Lisa said, her voice tight. "The moon cannon is recharging, but it won't be fast enough." David's voice came over the radio, calm and steady. "All units, fall back to formation Delta 4. We cannot break their line with numbers. We have to be smart. Jessica, give me a firing solution for the concentrated mass. I am trying, Commander, Jessica replied. But their formation is shifting. They are adapting to our tactics. They know about the cannon now. They are spreading out to minimize the damage. The swarm moved like a liquid, flowing around the spots where the human ships were strongest. They were not fighting like soldiers, they were fighting like a flood drowning a city. Tom gripped the controls. We can't just sit here and let them surround us. We have to wait for the order, Lisa said. On the bridge of the flagship, David stood alone in the center of the holographic map. He watched the red dots closing in on Earth. He knew the math. They had enough ammo to fight for maybe 2 more hours. After that, it would be hand-to-hand combat, and humans were not built for space boxing. Commander, Jessica said, her image flickering slightly. I have detected a pattern in their movement. They are protecting something in the center of the fleet. It is a biological signal. Very strong. It might be the Queen or the mind controller of this sector. David narrowed his eyes. If we kill the brain, the body dies. Theoretically. The swarm operates on a hive mind. If we destroy the central controller, the drones will lose their coordination. They will become confused. Can we hit it? Jessica paused. It is heavily guarded. But if the moon cannon fires a single, high-velocity shot directly into the center of their formation, we might penetrate their defenses. However, the cannon is currently charging a widespread shot to hold the line. Change the target, David commanded. Focus all power into a single slug. Aim for the center. Commander, if we miss, the cannon will be offline for an hour to recharge. The line will be defenseless. David looked at the image of Earth on the screen. He thought about the people down there. He thought about Tom and Lisa out there in their tiny ships, risking their lives for a planet that the rest of the galaxy had abandoned. We won't miss, David said. Order all fighter wings to clear a path. We need to make a hole straight to the heart of the swarm. The order went out. Tom heard it and felt a chill run down his spine. Clear a path, Tom said. Into that mess. That's what he said, Lisa replied. She checked her weapons. Missiles locked. Fuel full. Let's do it, Tom said. He pushed the throttle forward. The Vanguard shot ahead of the main fleet. Around him, hundreds of other human fighters did the same. They were a spear of metal and fire, diving straight into the ocean of aliens. The swarm reacted immediately. Hundreds of small alien ships turned to intercept them. Green laser fire filled the void. Evasive pattern. Tom shouted. He spun the ship, dodging a beam that would have vaporized him. He returned fire, blasting a small fighter into dust. The human fleet fought with a desperation that terrified the aliens. They didn't care about survival. They only cared about getting forward. A ship next to Tom exploded, the pilot dying instantly, but the ship behind it flew through the debris, not slowing down. The line is holding. Lisa yelled. The cannon is firing. From the surface of the moon, the massive gun roared. It did not sound like a gunshot in the vacuum of space, but the visual was loud enough. A trail of blue energy shot out, carrying a projectile the size of a skyscraper. It moved faster than the eye could track. It tore through the front lines of the swarm, ignoring the small ships, and drove deep into the center of the enemy fleet. It hit the target. The explosion was not like a normal bomb. It was a pulse of kinetic energy that shattered the core of the alien formation. A massive shock wave expanded, crushing thousands of bioships. The controller was dead. On the radar, Tom watched the red dots freeze. For a moment, the swarm stopped moving. The coordinated attack halted. The aliens were confused. Without the mind telling them what to do, they were just wild animals. Direct hit, Jessica's voice announced. Target eliminated. The swarm is losing cohesion. David slammed his fist onto the console. Now. Press the attack. Drive them back. The human fleet let out a cheer that was heard over every radio channel. They surged forward, attacking the confused enemy. It was a slaughter. The aliens, who had been a disciplined wall only minutes ago, were now scattered and fleeing. Tom chased a group of retreating ships, firing until he ran out of ammo. He watched them turn and run toward the deep darkness of space. "We did it," Lisa breathed. "They are running." Tom slumped back in his seat. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. His hands were shaking, but he felt a smile on his face. "We actually did it." But the celebration was short-lived. A beep from the radar made Tom sit up. "Wait. Look at the sensor. Not all of them are running." Lisa looked at her screen. "There is a group, they are not retreating. They are heading toward the Earth." "It's a suicide squad," Tom realized. "They know they lost the battle, but they want to hurt us one last time." "Commander David," Tom said over the radio. "Target Group Zulu 9. They are breaking for Earth." "I see them," David said. His voice was grave. "Our interceptors are too far away. We can't catch them in time." The alien ships were fast. They were diving past the moon, heading straight for the blue planet. There were about 50 of them. Huge cruisers loaded with acid and explosives. "Jessica," David said quickly. "Calculate impact points." "They will target the major population centers," Jessica said. "New York, Tokyo, London, projected casualties in the millions." Tom felt his heart stop. They had won the battle, but they were going to lose the war. The aliens were going to bomb the Earth from orbit. "We have to stop them," Tom said. "Turn the Vanguard around." "Tom, we are too far." Lisa cried. "We don't have the speed." Tom looked at the fuel gauge. They were almost empty. He looked at the engine temperature. It was in the red zone. He looked at the Earth, hanging in the sky like a jewel. He thought of the people. He thought of the families. "We don't need speed," Tom said. "We need gravity." "What are you talking about?" "The moon," Tom said. "We are going to use the moon's gravity to slingshot us." "It's too dangerous," Lisa warned. "The G-force will kill us." "Better than doing nothing while they bomb our home," Tom said. He angled the ship toward the moon. "Hang on." The Vanguard dived toward the lunar surface. The gray rocks rushed past them at terrifying speed. The alarm screamed proximity warning. Tom waited until the last possible second. He pulled the nose up. The gravity of the moon grabbed the ship and flung it forward like a stone from a sling. The force pushed Tom deep into his seat. His vision went blurry. He groaned as the pressure on his chest became too much. They shot out from behind the moon at incredible speed. They were right behind the alien suicide squad. "Tom! Wake up!" Lisa slapped his face. Tom shook his head. The red blur cleared. He saw the alien ships ahead. They were preparing to fire on Earth. "Lock missiles," Tom coughed. "Fire at will." The Vanguard unleashed its remaining payload. The missiles streaked toward the alien ships. The aliens didn't even see them coming. They were focused on the planet. The first ship exploded. Then the second. Tom flew through the debris, targeting the engines of the third. He used his last bullets, tearing the ship apart. He spun the ship and took out a fourth. The other human ships in the fleet saw what Tom was doing. They joined him. They used the same slingshot maneuver, diving past the moon and crashing into the rear of the alien formation. One by one, the alien ships fell. The sky above Earth lit up with explosions, but the debris burned up in the atmosphere, creating harmless shooting stars. The last alien ship, the biggest one, tried to crash itself into the city of Paris. It was burning and smoking, but it was still moving. "No you don't," Tom growled. He diverted all power to the engines. The Vanguard jumped forward. He positioned his ship directly in the path of the alien craft. "Tom, get out of the way!" Lisa screamed. "If I move, it hits the city," Tom said. He closed his eyes for a second. "Jessica, tell my family I love them." "Tom, don't!" Lisa cried. Tom didn't move. He aimed the Vanguard straight for the alien bridge. But just before impact, a beam of white light shot up from the Earth's surface. It was a ground-based defense laser. It sliced through the alien ship, destroying it instantly. Tom flinched as the debris washed over his ship, rocking it violently. The Vanguard spun out of control, smoke rising from the hull. Silence returned to the space above Earth. Tom opened his eyes. He was alive. He looked at the radar. It was clear. No red dots. The enemy was gone. Lisa's voice was trembling. "Are you okay?" Tom took a deep breath. He looked at the Earth below. It was safe. The cities were still shining. "I'm okay," Tom said. "We won." David's voice came over the radio. He sounded like he was crying. "All units, stand down. The swarm is retreating. Earth is safe." Tom leaned back and laughed. It was a tired, weak laugh, but it felt good. They had been left to perish. They had been told they were weak. But they were still standing. The smoke cleared in the vast emptiness of space, leaving behind only the floating wreckage of a terrifying battle. For days, the crews of the United Earth Defense Force had worked without stopping. They rescued escape pods, repaired broken ships, and counted the cost of freedom. The Xylon swarm was gone, driven back into the deep dark between the stars, defeated by a species that the rest of the galaxy considered weak. On the bridge of the flagship, Commander David stood looking out the massive window at the blue globe below. Earth was spinning quietly, wrapped in a blanket of clouds. It looked peaceful, but David knew it had changed forever. The cities down there were scarred, and millions of people were mourning, but they were alive. Humanity was alive. Jessica, the artificial intelligence, appeared next to him. "The cleanup is proceeding efficiently, Commander. The moon cannon is cooling down. Casualty reports are coming in." "It is, a high number." David nodded slowly. "We paid a heavy price. But we are still here." He turned away from the window and walked to the main holographic table. "Is the diplomatic channel ready?" "Yes, sir," Jessica said. "The Galactic Council is waiting. They have been requesting a conversation for 3 days. I have been ignoring them until now." David smiled grimly. "Good. Let them wait. Connect them." The large screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. The image of the Galactic Council chamber appeared. The room was the same as before, cold, metallic, and full of holograms. High Speaker Vex floated in the center. The blue light that made up his body seemed dimmer today. The other representatives, the insect-like Xyler and the gas cloud beings, were also present. They looked uncomfortable. Major Tom and Captain Lisa stood on the bridge near David. They were still in their dirty flight suits. They refused to leave until this meeting was finished. Tom looked at the aliens with cold eyes. He remembered how they had sat in their chairs and said humanity should be left to die. "Humans," Vex said. His voice was no longer arrogant. It was careful. "We have observed the battle in your sector. It is surprising." "Is it?" David said. He leaned forward, his hands on the table. "We didn't think it was surprising. We thought it was necessary. The Xylon swarm has destroyed civilizations much older and more advanced than yours." Xyler clicked, his insect mandibles twitching. "Your technology is primitive. Your ships are crude. How did you achieve a victory probability of over 99%? "We didn't use probability," Tom spoke up. His voice echoed through the bridge. "We used guts. You calculated your numbers and decided we weren't worth saving. But you forgot that numbers don't account for sacrifice." Vex floated closer to the screen, as if trying to see Tom better. "You violated galactic law by constructing the moon weapon. That level of kinetic energy is dangerous to the stability of the sector." "The stability of the sector," Lisa laughed. It was a sharp, angry sound. "You were going to seal us in a cage and let a monster eat us. We built that gun to save our children. If you don't like it, come and take it from us." The alien representatives shifted. They exchanged looks that David could not read, but he could guess what they were thinking. They were afraid. For thousands of years, they had been the strongest powers in the galaxy. They had grown comfortable. They had forgotten what real war looked like. Now, they had watched humanity fight a hopeless battle and win. "The Council is prepared to offer a trade agreement," Vex said smoothly, trying to regain control of the conversation. "Now that the threat is gone, we can reopen the slipstream gates. We can offer you advanced medical technology and shield generators. As a gesture of friendship." David stood up straight. He looked at the offer on the screen. It was everything Earth had wanted a month ago. Medicine, technology, protection. "No," David said. The word hung in the air. Vex paused. "No, you refuse the aid of the Council." "We refuse your pity," David said firmly. "We don't need your shields. We built our own. We don't need your medicine. We have our own doctors. And we don't need your gates." Tom stepped forward to stand next to David. "You left us to perish. You told us we were less than zero. Well, you don't get to change your mind just because we survived. We are not your pets. We are not your subjects. If you do not join the Council," Xyler warned, "you will remain isolated. You will be cut off from the rest of the galaxy. You will be alone." David smiled. It was a genuine smile. He looked at Tom, then at Lisa, then at the bridge crew who were listening. "We are never alone. We have each other." He turned back to the screen. "Keep your gates closed. Keep your technology. We will build our own future. If you ever come near Earth again, remember one thing: we are the species that killed the swarm when you were too scared to lift a finger. Leave us in peace, and we will leave you in peace. Provoke us, and you will regret it." Vex was silent for a long time. The blue light pulsed slowly. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a cold calculation. The council realized that the balance of power had shifted. They had thought humanity was an ant. Now they realized the ant had a gun. Very well, Vex said finally. The barrier will remain. The Galactic Council respects the sovereignty of Earth. But know this, we are watching. Good, Tom said. Keep watching. Maybe you'll learn something. David reached forward and pressed a button. The screen went black. The connection was severed. The Galactic Council was gone. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Then, a low cheer started. It grew louder and louder. The crew clapped each other on the back. Jessica even projected a small smile on her holographic face. Lisa put a hand on Tom's shoulder. We did it. We really told them off. Yeah, Tom said. He let out a long breath he felt like he had been holding for a month. It feels good. David turned to his officers. The war is over, people. Now the real work begins. We have a planet to rebuild. And we have a future to forge. Tom walked back to the window. He looked down at Earth. It was beautiful. It was his home. He thought about the people down there. They were sleeping, eating, laughing, and crying. They were free. He remembered the fear he felt when the council turned off the lights. He remembered the despair when they said humanity would die. But they were wrong. They thought isolation was a death sentence. They didn't understand that pressure makes diamonds. We stood united, Tom whispered to himself. The galaxy had left them to perish. The universe had thrown its worst nightmare at them. But humanity had taken the hit, bloody and bruised, and had punched back harder. They had turned their fear into a weapon. They had turned their division into strength. Lisa stood next to him. What happens now, Tom? Now Tom looked at her. Now we explore. Now we build better ships. Now we go out there, on our own terms, and show the galaxy what humans can really do. He watched a transport ship fly past the window, carrying supplies down to the surface. The human race was scarred, yes. They had lost friends, family, and ships. But they had found their soul. Commander, Jessica's voice came over the speakers. I am detecting a signal from the outer rim. It looks like a new star chart. I think it's an invitation from a species that has been watching the battle. They are not part of the council. David walked over. An invitation. They say they were impressed by our spirit, Jessica said. They want to talk. Tom smiled and looked at David. It seems the galaxy is bigger than just the council. David nodded. It seems so. But first, we take care of home. Tom looked up at the stars. They used to look so far away, untouchable and distant. Now, they looked like a destination. The barrier that the council had built was still there, a wall of energy separating Earth from the stars. But to Tom, it didn't look like a cage anymore. It looked like a starting line. The fear was gone. In its place was a quiet confidence. Humanity knew who they were now. They were the survivors. They were the fighters. We will stand united, Tom said softly, repeating the promise that had saved them. And out in the deep silence of space, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter, reflecting the fire of a world that refused to burn.